Woo! Alright, hello, welcome to Ben's OP Games Show, recorded live, featuring a live band before the show. You gotta get here early to hear the fantastic tunes. Recorded live, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, twitch.tv/TheGameFanatics. Ignore the part where I had to load where I was. On this week's show, I'm going to be talking about the Breath of the Wild Champions Ballad DLC, the Monster Hunter World beta, which seems like it took place 10 years ago, even though it was 6 days ago, and the Resident Evil 7 DLC, and we'll start with Zelda, right? Meow. So this is footage actually of the final dungeon thing you get into, but it's the beginning of me wandering around, and I think the key thing to note with this DLC is that it doesn't necessarily start strong, but it ends very strong, not only because you end up with a freaking motorcycle, but because it ends with a boss fight that I wasn't expecting. I didn't expect to see what it was there, and an entire new Divine Beast dungeon to go into, and several other shrines, which are fantastic. But to dial it back to the beginning of the Champions Ballad DLC, it's such a weird and I think big misstep to have the beginning of this DLC give you a weapon that you can't unequip, that essentially is like a one-hit kill on any enemy, that you can kill them, but you have to wait for it to charge. So you can hit 2 guys, kill them instantly, but then kind of wait 10 seconds or something. But you get killed instantly. 1 hit and you're dead. And it's just not a fun thing to do. I don't really understand the appeal of that. I know people a lot of people, I'm alone in saying that the combat isn't that great in Breath of the Wild. I feel like most people like it a lot more than I do. And so maybe they like that. But to me, that beginning section was so obnoxious, and having these moments where I'm diving down, I'm gonna go get this orb or whatever, and just instantly be killed for no fun. I'm going into these shrines that there's 4 shrines that you have to do with this one-hit kill thing, and I'm forgetting, like, oh, can I shoot this with my bomb arrow? I don't know what's happening. I haven't played the game in months. I die in 1 hit. It's just not, it's not like your best foot forward, I would say, even though the shrines themselves are great, and every single shrine in this is great. There's even one that is a combat shrine, and it's the one-hit you're dead combat shrine too, which isn't that bad, because it's like, oh, you fight the guy and then it goes further and there's other guys you have to fight. It does interesting things with the one-hit combo or one-hit kills in the shrines themselves, but getting to them was stupid. However, that's only the setup, because then there's 9 more shrines, which is awesome. It's so great to see some of these shrines, the puzzles that they do. Some of them still involve the annoying and obnoxious motion controls, but most of them don't, and that's a godsend. And the ones that do it in an interesting, not interesting way, but in a way that isn't so stupid and annoying. Additionally, finding the optional treasure chest in each shrine was fun, as it always has been, and oftentimes had, like, I'm going back into here to figure out what did I need to do, and you're solving a puzzle in a different way, or you're looking around a corner a different way, and it's a fantastic reminder of how smart Breath of the Wild is at almost all times. I even enjoyed the part of this game where it's like, okay, go to these 4 parts of the map, you'll go there, and it'll be this weird 3-pronged thing. That's 4 prongs, so get rid of the thumb. 3-prong thing, and on each side of it would be a picture, and you'd look at the picture and then go to the map and try to find where it was. I liked that. I think that's fun. It kind of rewards me for having the map being fully fleshed out and kind of having seen a lot of the world. I enjoyed that. What else is there? There's this final dungeon shrine. A lot of the puzzles, super smart, super fun. Nothing too crazy. Oh, you also have to replay all the boss fights in a way that I think is, again, super smart, to say that again, because it has you replaying these bosses, but with a fixed amount of equipment. So it doesn't matter if your armor is super good or you have 1,000 bomb arrows. You're fighting these bosses again with 6 ice arrows and 1 sword, and that's a cool little thing, even though I forgot how to fight some of these bosses. And definitely on a second viewing, or whatever you want to call it, a second fight, they're not as exciting. Some of these bosses, the one lightning guy that jumps around is still terrible and stupid. These bosses are not great for that combat system. They're not great for Zelda bosses. They're completely forgettable. Like, period. End of statement. There's nothing that lives up to really anything. And maybe it's a bad example because Ocarina of Time was so influential on me, and I've played through it probably 50 plus times, that I know every single boss, and each one is iconic. But, you know, Bongo Bongo is an iconic boss. You know who that is, right? Goma is an iconic boss as well. And nothing even comes close to this in that game. And playing through them again just reminded me of that. There's also... what was it? Something else stupid. Well, I forgot what it was. So one less complaint about the DLC. Because it's great. You know, this is more Zelda. It's fantastic. You get the motorcycle. That's surprising in how good it is just to drive around. I went and I fought Ganon again, and you can drive the motorcycle around at the very end where you're fighting Ganon and you're just shooting light arrows on a motorcycle. That's a dream come true. I love that. Oh, that's what I was going to complain about. They put in that stupid stealth section and made you do it again in the DLC. The worst part of the game. Literally, the worst part of the game. There is no worse part of Breath of the Wild than that stealth section. I think I might have saved it on my Twitch because I happened to be streaming it when I came across it, but it was like 2 hours I was there just trying to get through 2 rooms. Just piss poor, terrible stealth, and they make you do it again for better or worse. Worse is the answer, I'd say. But getting rid of that, new shrines, fantastic. You get 4 more orbs, meaning you can finally have max hearts. Or I guess you could before, but I can have max hearts while still having a big ol' stamina bar. Really, really enjoyed it. I think the content might be like 6 to 7 hours if you're just playing that. And it's a wonderful excuse to go back and do Breath of the Wild. I would say if you have 60 shrines and you have the DLC, like, just do it. Just do the DLC, get the motorcycle, and roam around the world as you get those remaining 60 shrines. That would be a blast. I mean, if the game came out with this content and I had known about this crazy motorcycle, I would have done that. I would have done that same thing. Like, let me get this motorcycle right away. Because it's a damn fun time. And this dungeon, super creative stuff. This is easily, in my opinion, at least in my memory, I wouldn't even say in my opinion, in my foggy little brain, the best dungeon, divine beast, whatever, in the game. The other ones, I mean, the elephant, I don't even remember what the lizard one was like. This one is interesting, has its hook. There's gears going around, and you have to tilt the way it's going, you know, where the gears are turning. That's a ton of fun. It uses all the abilities in a super smart way. I think this is the best dungeon, but it still makes me feel like, man, I want a Zelda dungeon. You know, I want a dungeon like we used to get, where I'm finding a map and I'm going through rooms and I'm coming back into other rooms on the second floor and looking down at where I was and getting another item. There's something missing with this Zelda, and that's why I'm I guess negative on it sometimes. It's wrong to say I'm negative on it though, because at 120, 30 hours, how negative can I be on it? It's just, man, there's this feeling that I got from every single Zelda game, even the first Zelda game, of which why am I going in my friends list? Blaming you for that, Delphox. Even the first one, which this shares a lot of kind of influences with, you'd still get new items, you'd still find new secrets, go to places you'd been before with a new thing and realize something about it. And in this game, it's relegated to, oh, I didn't know that's what a Korok seed hiding spot looked like. That's not as exciting as, oh, I could hookshot onto that. I didn't even realize that. I didn't even know hookshot was a thing. When you started playing Ocarina of Time, when you were me and you were 9 years old, you didn't know hookshot was a thing. You didn't know you'd be able to hookshot onto that platform over there and go and do that. And there's no moment like that in this game. Oh, also, I should say, you do upgrade all the divine abilities you get on the side. You can't see them, they're disabled in here, but that's a cool little wrinkle. I think that's something we can build upon in the next game. I think we can shrink the open world and expand the dungeons. Fewer, but expand them. And we got it. But this is a perfect end to a really, really great game. And it gave me a robot motorcycle to ride around with and shoot light arrows on, and a giant pig monster. So I think that's a win. It's either a win or a fever dream I had. I'm not sure which. It might be both. It might actually be both. Is this the part where I got confused for 20 minutes? I did get confused for a while. This is so cool. And I love just, I picked up a ball. It's like the key ball that you use to put in stuff. And it's my friend. It's my ball friend. I love doing shit like that in games. Just carrying an object with me for way longer than I should. Like in Firewatch, I picked up a pine cone and I carried it around for an hour for no goddamn reason. Oh, I love doing that stuff. It's so much fun to me. Because some games will not let you take things certain places. So I like to abuse the system. And certain games too, like, will turn off physics if an object is so far away from where it kind of originated. It's really fun. I'm a broken mess, but great game. Great DLC. And smart. Look at this, is smart. This is just smart and fun. Good job. Now give me another one next week. Let's do it. Next week, you got a week, Nintendo. Let's go. That should be enough time. It's not enough time? I think it's enough time. I think they can get it done. 1 week, Nintendo. That's all I have. That's all I have to wait. I mean, I don't even think they should make another Zelda game. Just keep expanding layers upon Breath of the Wild. There's really no reason to do much heavy lifting craziness with it. But let's move on to something different. We got some Monster Hunter World here, and it's weird to say I'm a fan of this series because I'm not really. I've spent maybe 20 hours at most with one of the PSP ones. I've always been rooting for this series. I love the idea of it. It's very Soulsian in its spirit. It predates the Souls games. But it's one that's always, at least of late, and by of late I mean 10 years, been stuck on the PSP, or been stuck on the 3DS, or the Wii got a port of Monster Hunter Tri, but it's garbage. Like, it doesn't control right. Well, we got one on the Wii U. It still isn't right. This isn't right. And they finally did it. I don't know why it took them this long to do it, but they finally gave you, and maybe this is one of the newer 3DS ones as well, but actual second analog support that isn't like it's from the 1920s or something. It's so bizarre how bad the controls were and how much better they are now. Delphox, you remember this is the match where the guy was whistling at the beginning, and yeah, I got to hear the whistling again when I put this video up, and good lord, it was just as bad as you remember. Stupid asshole whistling. Anyway, they finally fixed all that. They finally streamlined a lot of this nonsense of, oh, you have to have a mining pickaxe, and then your pickaxe can break. Like, that seems to just all be gone. Maybe it's been gone for a while, but I'm sorry, I'm not playing every Monster Hunter waiting for it to fix itself. I'm playing the beta for this and realizing, oh, they've finally done it. They've brought this game into 2012, really, where it should have been all along, and it looks beautiful. It plays really good and is a ton of fun to do. It's not as hard or hardcore as it has seemed in the past to me. You can kind of just get a group together and go nuts at it. I love that. I love that the worlds aren't sectioned off into little pieces and you're like, oh, he's going to 3, and then you go there and there's a loading screen for 3. It's finally a world, a Monster Hunter world, if you will. Eye roll. And that's so great. It just sucks that it took them so much longer than they really needed to take to get to this point, because this is a game, for all intents and purposes, this game could have come out on the PS3. There's nothing in this game that I played that was like so much bigger and grander. You know, we've had games like Witcher 3 at this point. We know how big and crazy things can get. Even Skyrim, which is 10 years old, it feels like. This is just such a smaller scale, but man, is it nice for them to catch up. And it's kind of goofy to give a developer or a publisher or whatever credit for catching up, but this is the perfect game to catch up with. And oh my god, it reminds me, didn't even think about this when I was playing it, I loved Dragon's Dogma. And Dragon's Dogma was basically single player Monster Hunter, but less about like finding quests. It had its open world and you would go around and do little quests with your party members. And I loved that. And they brought in kind of the no nonsense, let's make sense controls, let's let you mount a beast. It very much learned some lessons from that game, I feel like, at least in spirit. And I love that from it. Now that I brought up Dragon's Dogma, though, I would just rather Dragon's Dogma 2. But whatever. I think the future from this looks super bright. I think people had a ton of fun with it. It was easy to get into games. There were some kind of connectivity issues, but barring that, didn't experience really any lag. Ton of fun fighting these monsters. This is actually an optional monster that was not part of the target that you can fight. They're all just sitting around in the area. They're all giant. I tried out pretty much every single weapon. All a ton of fun. Everything seems faster and more streamlined. And I know there will be purists who don't like that. But I think grinding for 5 hours to build the Rathios armor or whatever is appealing to such a subset of people that if we just sped it up a little bit, they added in some nice tutorial little lady who's telling you, oh, this is a berry, or does this for whatever. They added in the ability to, it's like a slingshot or something, so everyone has a projectile to do a little bit of something with. They added in a lot of maneuverability, climbing through things, jumping, in a way that feels so much faster, so much more like an action game and not like you're stuck in an animation for 20 hours. It still has it. It still has that. You know, you're locked in, right? And I like that. That's the charm of Monster Hunter. It's still there. You are locked into where you're facing. You started this combo, you're doing the combo, right? You don't get to dick around. It's nice that they stuck that, but it is faster. It is more forgiving, but still not too forgiving where you can, just fool around too much. The final encounter in this is a little more difficult. I wouldn't say it's that difficult. And I'm not a great Monster Hunter person, but if I can do it, they did make it easy. But it could just be the beta. And I hope the final game isn't like, oh, you don't have infinite pickaxes, and oh, you can't just mine honey from this. They really need to tone that down. I don't need to worry about inventory space or having 3 pickaxes, 1 gold pickaxe in case I find the 1 ore thing I want to find. Like that minutia garbage seems to have been completely removed, and that's what was always preventing me from playing it. Yes, Will, I did see your shocked face. Don't worry. I did. So I'm super excited about Monster Hunter World because I played it for like 3 hours, and I was like, the same 2 missions. I played the same 2 missions over and over for basically 3 hours. And the next day I was sitting there thinking to myself, yeah, I could play more of that. It was 2 missions I already played 3 hours of, and that's a really good sign, especially that this is now on a system that actually has online multiplayer. What the fuck just flew in my face? That's great to see. We'll have people to play with on PS4, Xbox, or PC. It looks and runs fine, but man, on PC it's gonna look so phenomenal. I don't know. It depends. My friend Logan will be playing the game, and whatever he gets it on, I will get it on, and we'll play. Now, Delphox, if you get this game, I'd play it with you. Come on. Come on. We could hunt some monsters. With a Z. I could change that S to a Z. It could be monsters with a Z. That could be us. This could be us. Beating the fucking shit out of this monster set. It is a ton of fun. It really is a ton of fun to fight these things in a way that it never seemed like it was before, because now you actually have the ability to use the right analog stick. I still don't know if I'd like it. Well, alright, well, the beta is happening again next week, Delphox. So give it a shot. Check it out. See if you like it. This was for PS Plus only. The next one's not for PS Plus only, so you'll be able to do it. I don't know, but aren't you PS Plus? It doesn't matter. Give it a shot. It's only 5 gigs. Come on. You can preload now. Get on with it. But I was very, very impressed with what I played of it. It's so nice to see a franchise that I've always wanted to get into have an entry that didn't feel like it was trying to punish me unnecessarily, for no reason, obnoxiously, and being a meanie to my face. That's what was nice to see. And I think that's worth applauding and recommending and enjoying. And I think Capcom is going to have 2 years in a row a big hit in January for them. Last year, Resident Evil. Next year, it will be, almost said Dragon's Dogma, Monster Hunter World. I wish it was Dragon's Dogma. I wish. Look at them. That's another thing they added with you can kind of see the tracks and follow the beast, because it's not fun to not know where the thing is and have to go through here, and I have to look up a wiki guide. Anytime I have to look up a wiki, what the hell's going on or how to do something, it's kind of a knock against you. And you might say, but Ben, you love Dark Souls. I don't look at the wiki when I'm playing Dark Souls. I don't need to. Okay? Monster Hunter, I feel like I need a hand. I need an adult's hand to guide me. In the small of my back, just adult's hand, just right there, just a little guiding, you know, just to know that they're there to help me. just a little touch. Look at the monster though. I can't decide, is he a rock? Or is his hide just really, is that poop? What is he flinging at me? It's very upsetting. I like making the segments now shorter. I feel like if I stay focused, I can keep them shorter and more on target. No one wants to watch a 30-minute review of something where I repeat myself 7 times. No one except me. And even I, why would I rewatch it? Now we're moving on to the Resident Evil 7 DLC. I do. Oh, but you're weird. We might have time for free chat fun time once I figure out what the hell I was doing. Alright, yeah, right. I know, you're broken. We're sorry. Well, Will's here too, and he's been here longer than you. In the disaster party. So, the final little chunks of Resident Evil 7 DLC hit. This is the, what was it? End of Zoe. This is footage of End of Zoe, which is included on the season pass. I think it was $9 or $15. I don't know. But as a brief aside, this has to be one of the worst season passes I ever bought, just because the bulk of it is not that good. Thankfully, this End of Zoe DLC is the best part of that season pass. I would just recommend, I don't know, you get it all on sale or you just buy this. But the other piece is free, and that is Not a Hero with Chris Redfield, who looks nothing like Chris Redfield. He's part of Umbrella, which is some kind of organization now that is some of the members from Umbrella that are trying to rectify the wrongs they made. And you know what? That's cool. And I'm a big Resident Evil idiot nerd, and I loved 6, even though no one else did. I love 5, I love 4, I love 3, I love 2, I love Resident Evil. And this game in the main campaign, has barely anything to do with the main mess of a plotline, which I enjoy how stupid it is, right? And this DLC, even though it stars Chris, not the one that's being shown right here, even though it involves Chris, and Umbrella, new Umbrella, and it mentions something about the BSAA not doing something correctly, it doesn't fit in. It doesn't even try to be like, oh, this is what's been going on with the story. I was expecting some reveal at the end to show Ada or to show anyone, and it just didn't. And to that end, it is disappointing that there is no story wrap-up tie-in at all besides Chris just being there. It's almost, it is the reboot. Like, they should have just rebooted everything because it still would fit. It still would fit as a reboot because this Chris looks different. Umbrella's weird and different. I'm just going to think of it as a reboot because it does nothing to advance the plot, which admittedly is garbage and a mess, but it doesn't. It doesn't do anything to further it from any of the games. And even like a end stinger thing that's like, oh, here's Ada, here's Wesker again. I don't know how that happened. Like, it's a clone. Nothing even like that. So to that, I'm a smidge disappointed. But putting that aside, Not a Hero and End of Zoe are both pretty damn great overall. There are moments in both that I think kind of suffer. And we'll talk about the Not a Hero free DLC first. So you're Chris and you're in the mines. And I think the worst aspect of this DLC is that you're in the mines, which are the least interesting to me location. And we'll get into that more with the End of Zoe DLC, which takes place in a swamp, which is also the least interesting place to be. So you're in the mines and you're going through, and it kind of has these, you can choose your own way, but you go this way and it's like, oh, you need night vision goggles. Like, okay, I won't go that way. Oh, this area is all filled with poison. You can't go that way. All right, fine. So you go this other way, and there's this monster you can't beat, so you run away from it. And then you eventually get ammo that can beat the super monsters, and that's all cool. And then you get the night vision, and then you get the poison aspirator to reverse that. That's all fun, and I really enjoyed that. I liked seeing every aspect of it. I liked fighting the monsters still. The core gameplay of Resident Evil 7 is fantastic, and that is on full display here, and they do a really good job at it. I think it's a little short. I know it's free DLC. Not a Hero is about 2 hours long. I don't know if that includes how many times I died against the final boss, so let's say 2.5 hours? Because I did die against the final boss a couple times. But other than that, it was a fun ride. It does tie up the whole Baker family thing. It introduces another shadow organization that, again, has nothing to do with any plot, doesn't make any sense, and seems to be setting up... You know how cliffhangers will obviously be there to set up another movie? This is stuff that's obviously in there to set up another game, but it does it in such an uninteresting way. I don't even know who's it's setting it up for. Like, well, what are you setting this up for? For like, I'm a big fan, so obviously I'm gonna play the next game, and obviously that's why I'm playing the new DLC that's free. But if you're not a big fan, this just is like a bunch of nonsense. So who is this for? And like, the people who aren't big fans need to, they need the next thing. Oh, what's going on here? And I'm like, I don't know what you get from it. This is, okay, so for Delphox's cousin, Resident Evil 7 is a fantastic place to start. Especially since the story stuff is totally toned down. But more specifically about the DLC, it's just not... It doesn't culminate in anything. It doesn't add anything too super new. There are a few new weapons, but I mean, come on. It's a pistol. It's a shotgun. How different is it, really? And as good as this DLC, or even as the End of Zoe is, which is what's on screen with the punching, as good as those are, man, the main campaign of Resident Evil 7 is so phenomenal. It has those scary moments. It has you being hunted by these people in the house and not knowing what's going on, and solving these puzzles, of which I don't think there were any puzzles that I did. I don't think so. like figuring out your inventory, like what does this go over here? If I take that over there and I put the idol on the whatever, this DLC doesn't have that, and we'll just get to it right now. The biggest problem with all of this DLC, whether it's the Not a Hero free one or the End of Zoe Season Pass paid one, is that they take place in the least interesting places. The best part of Resident Evil 7 to me, and to a lot of people I think, is the house. Is being in that large house, opening the doors. It's being in that familiar environment. That, like, this could be your house. This could be Del Fox's cousin's house, right? It's not. Well, it could be. Are you in Louisiana? No. It's being in that house. It could be anyone you know's house. And like, something happened here. What the hell's going on? There's monsters now. You're looking through cabinets and finding weird garbage and reading notes that the family left. And like, they're hunting me. They're hunting me. I don't know what to do. And like, this is awesome, intense stuff. And then all the DLC just doesn't take place there. Like, the biggest thing I want from another Resident Evil game is that's in this style is for it to take place in a mansion. Just remake Resident Evil 1 in this idea, this first person idea, because that's incredible. We don't need to go to the swamp or the mines because they're so boring and uninteresting. Who do you want to be? Look at this swamp. It's just a bunch of mud everywhere. And then the mines are also just a bunch of mud everywhere. It's not, no. We want to be in Del Fox's cousin's house after they've eaten some crazy zombie virus and we're trying to survive. That's what we want. That's exactly what we want. And I think it's tough to be like, oh, this DLC's terrible because it doesn't take place where I want it to take place. But I don't know a single person who would say, oh, my favorite part of Resident Evil is when you're in the swamp. Who would say that? It's like, that's a crazy person. They might say the police station, and I'll give you that. Okay, I'll give you the streets of Raccoon City when they're all on fire and there's a downed car and there's zombies there. I'll give you that, but not the mines. I'll give you the lab. There's a good moment in the Chris campaign here at the end where you're in a lab and it's like 3 rooms and it's like, this is really cool. All the Resident Evil games always end in the lab. Oh, I love seeing labs. And the lab's over. Damn it. We're so close to just getting a cool freaking lab. And that's what I want to see. That's what the next Resident Evil game needs to be for me, is just stick to the script of a mansion, of a house, of these places you might see every day, even if it's like an apartment building or whatever. That's what makes it interesting. That's what made stuff like Dead Island interesting to me. Like, oh, this is a vacation town. Like, oh, this is a gas station. I know this. As opposed to, as much as I like it, Dead Space. Like, well, I've never been to a space station. I've never been to a space station to like mine some weird garbage on an asteroid. So that's not relatable. But I've been to a house once or twice, really digging the knife into the swamp thing. And the swamp sucks. And this is the End of Zoe. You can't see my hand. My arm got chopped off. DLC, and it all takes place in a swamp, and you play as what's his name's brother. Don't remember anyone's name. His name is Joe though, but the other guy's name Jack. I don't even know if his name is Joe. Doesn't matter. So Jack's there, or Joe's there, someone's there, fighting to save Zoe. Now this is technically not even canon. Cousin says hi. Tell him to make sure his house isn't a zombie infested place that's in the next Resident Evil. Just double check. It's unlikely, just double check. And you're saving Zoe, or you're kind of saving. I mean, there's monsters. Clearly, there's monsters. And I like what this DLC does to whom? Oh, it's probably to you, Delphi, or to Will. Yeah, that's probably true. But you're only punching. So you do get like sticks to throw. I'm already invested because I'm here. Oh, that's true. That's unfortunate. That's real unfortunate. So you get sticks to throw. And this is why I think this piece of DLC is secretly almost better than the Chris one, is it has what the main game had of okay, do I need to make a healing item, or do I use that same material to craft a bomb that can be used to take out this enemy, right? And punching all these guys is fun. It does work mostly. Throwing the sticks at crazy alligators that are hunting you is fun. I did really enjoy that. I like where this goes. I was surprised at kind of how long it was. This DLC is also about 2 hours long. It has more impactful moments, I think, than the free Chris DLC, even though that's the one that's like, oh, it's Chris, so watch out, it's Chris, he's back. This is just as good and better in a different way. It has that, there's a couple moments towards the middle end-ish that reminded me of Resident Evil 5 or 4 even to a lesser extent, where you're just surviving. You have this limited equipment with you. I mean, the Chris one, I had shotgun the entire time. I wasn't really too worried about anything that was going on. It ended with a big boss encounter, and this one ends with like a goofy boss encounter that's meant... Who's Chris exactly? Chris Redfield. Get with the program. It's been in like all the games except for half of them. Could I name all the games? Doesn't matter. And I think it ends in a super fun way with like you're punching this guy, Jack, a bunch of times in a fun manner that fits what this is going on. I really like the end of Zoe as a weird side story offshoot. You just punching things like these weird goopy monsters. You're punching them in the face. It introduces a couple new enemies there too in this DLC that you have to punch. And it's dumb. It's really dumb that you're just punching them, but that's what makes it fun. And having the new, like, making a stick to throw, this almost felt to me like a testing ground for what the next one could be, because there's a lot of elements in this that I would like to see, kind of a stronger emphasis on taking things slowly, having to go through literally alligator infested waters and deal with that situation in a smart way. Like, you're walking over the swamp and you could fall in and have to, like, okay, I gotta throw this spear at this alligator to kill it, or otherwise, or I gotta get out quickly, or I can stay up there and try and get through it and not get knocked off, and you're punching all these things. It mostly works pretty well with the punching. That's a ton of fun. I think they should be applauded for it, and this is clearly the season pass for this game. Is to say it's a mixed bag. Like, this is the mixedest bag of all bags, because there is some terrible stuff in this season pass, just awful. It'd be just horrifically bad, and even the high points before this, it was like a 25-minute portion where Zoe tried to escape, a non-canon thing, where Zoe tries to escape the mansion, or the house. Not a mansion, it's 2 stories. It's big, but not a mansion. The ranch house. Tries to escape the ranch house. That was the best part of it before, and like the rest of it was kind of a mess and really unnecessary. And it's nice to see that this final bit that we didn't even know we were going to get is better than anything we got. I think stands toe-to-toe with the Not a Hero Chris DLC. Don't ask who Chris is again. Well, and that's great to see. I love Resident Evil 7, and it's nice to have this little reminder for some people since it came out in January. Like, hey, when you're thinking of games you played this year, remember Resident Evil 7, and remember that it was excellent. Forget about the DLC. Just play this new DLC. Don't play the garbage. I almost would even say you don't need to play the DLC. The main game is so much better than anything you're getting in any of these. The DLC is just nice for super fans / idiots like me who want the little extra tidbit of there's Chris here, and there's Chris there, and there's also Chris. And there's Umbrella, and Chris is with Umbrella. Did I mention Chris? Well, let me know. And like mechanical things too that I think are fun to see as someone who's interested in these games in a much more in-depth way than a lot of people that are just playing it for fun. Now, I will also say, Not scary. Not very scary. There was one jump scare in this. There was maybe one jump scare in the other Chris one. It's not, but people are saying this game's really scary. And I'm apparently immune to scary things in games. I don't know how. I don't know how that happened. It certainly isn't true. Will, you saw me stream Emily is Away. Or Emily Wants to Play. Yeah, Emily Wants to Play. And that's scary. But this is fine. You're punching a thing, and then you're punching it. I don't know. You can stomp down. Is there any Chris Swamp crossover? Oh, is there? Is there? No. There's at the end of this DLC, there's a brief Resident Evil / ET crossover. That was / Mega Man. Or not Mega Man. Punchy Man. I don't know. Someone who punches. But it wouldn't be with Chris though. Chris in the Swamp. No, it's just the mines. I still remember that Emma was a play stream. It's a scary game. I have that somewhere. I don't know where I have it, but man, the swamp is terrible. Like the swamp is just god awful. You have to admit that. The swamp is terrible. No one wants to play in the swamp. You can't see anything. Okay. It is redeeming. Oh, then the game does this stupid thing where it's like, oh, there's a graveyard and then you're going to go to a church. I'm like, really cool. Oh, I get to go to a spooky church and it's one room and a cutscene and then you wake up in a swamp again. Little cock-teased church over there. So I think I want to forget everything about that Emily Wants to Play stream, by the way. It's just the scenery. The location of where you are is the worst part of this DLC to me. And I think that means it's pretty damn good. Except for fights like this that seem unwinnable. And this stupid monster man is constantly here punching me in the face. And I forgot you can block. It helps if you remember you can block. Because you can. So do. Alright? That's just pro tip. This is cool. Let's Play is scary. Yeah, it is scary. Cocktease Church is my favorite punk band. I had to allow that comment. Because the chat was like, do you really want that in there? I'm like, hell yeah, I want the Cocktease Church in my chat. I'm all about that Cocktease Church. I think I died here. Did I die here? Oh yeah, you're grabbing grubs and that's the thing that this DLC does better than the Chris one. It has the combining aspect, man. That's what I wanted. I'm eating crawfish and weird shit off the ground, making first aid medicine, throwing spears at things. It's a good time. I'm gonna wait for this reveal right here. It's pretty good. Spooky monster. Pretty cool. Alright, that's the show. Not the Emily Wants to Play show. Good lord. No. Never again. Thanks for hanging out. Merry Christmas. This show is every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. I think that's how time works. Every day I try and look at my clock and remember what's Pacific time. Every other week I look it up. Even though time hasn't changed, I look it up. Just gotta make sure. Has time changed? Maybe. Twitch.tv/TheGameFanatic. On my channel, Ben React, I will be doing... Yeah, I'm going to do Metroid Prime 3 tomorrow. And then Monday, might be Persona, but it also might be... What was the other game I wanted to play? Let me know, Delphox. I might do Life is Strange. The Before the Storm. I might see what that is. Merry Halloween, yes. Gingerbread, being eaten by a reindeer, and a tree rocket. Is there a tree rocket? I don't understand the tree rocket. Anyway, thank you. What the hell is that? Sure do that. Well, I know you liked Life is Strange. That's why I'm saying that. What is the snowman? Why are there all these weird... Alright, I'm done. You're freaking me out with all your little emotes. I'm done. Oh, right here I get to throw a... But you gotta watch me kill the alligator, though. Look at this. Come on, alligator. Wait for it. Oh. That's a highlight. It's a big highlight.